What is the greatest lie people are told? That if you wait patiently, if you are kind enough, if you work quietly in the shadows, power will someday be placed in your hands. This is a delusion for the weak. History shows us a darker truth. Power is taken, not given. And if you don't learn how to seize yours, you will forever remain a servant in a world built by wolves. Today, we solve this problem: how to stop waiting and start taking what is rightfully yours. Power is not a gift wrapped in velvet, handed down with grace. It is not a father bequeathing land to his son, nor a master rewarding a loyal servant. Power is never granted out of kindness. It is taken, always taken, by those bold enough to reach for it when others hesitate. The man who waits is the man who rots, chained by his own illusions, while the man who seizes becomes master of his fate. Think of history's greatest rulers. None of them were handed power as a mere offering. Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon, not because Rome invited him, but because he knew the Senate would never willingly yield. Napoleon crowned himself emperor, refusing to let the Pope place the crown on his head, for he understood even symbols matter, and to wait for someone else to grant him authority would poison the roots of his rule. Look closer at any throne, any empire, any dynasty. Behind the ceremony lies force, cunning, and the audacity to take what others said could not be taken. The weak comfort themselves with fantasies. They tell themselves, if I am good, if I am patient, if I prove my worth, power will come. But this is a dream fit only for children. The truth is crueler. Those in power protect their position like a starving dog guards its bone. Do you believe they will share it with you simply because you are deserving? No, they will use you, drain you, and discard you, unless you find the will to grasp what you desire with your own hands. To live waiting is to die forgotten. Picture two men in a court. One bows low, hoping the prince will notice his loyalty, his obedience, his silence. He is pitied at best, ignored at worst. Another strides forward with confidence, not asking but declaring, not begging but acting. Which man commands respect? Which man bends the will of others? It is not the meek servant, but the bold actor. Strength is not recognized when it waits. It is recognized when it asserts itself without apology. Even in the smallest matters of life, you see this truth revealed. In the workplace, the man who waits for promotion is overlooked, while the one who claims authority, takes initiative, and imposes his presence is seen as a leader. In relationships, the one who waits endlessly for appreciation dies in resentment, while the one who sets boundaries, demands recognition, and acts with strength commands it. Life, at every level, follows the same law: power is seized, never given. And yet, many resist this truth, for it frightens them. They would rather believe in fairness, in justice, in the benevolence of others. They prefer the illusion of being noticed one day, chosen one day, rewarded one day. But Machiavelli knew this is the very disease of mediocrity. The powerful have no interest in elevating the timid. Why should they? A silent man causes no threat, no disruption, no challenge. He can be used like a tool, thrown away like a rag, because his very passivity writes his fate. So ask yourself, how many opportunities have you let pass because you were waiting? How many times did you sit quietly, believing someone would finally see your worth, when in truth they saw only your silence and mistook it for weakness? The world does not reward the invisible. The world rewards those who force themselves into the light, even if others resent it, even if others fear it. You must carve out your space with intention. When you walk into a room, do not wait for others to grant you permission to speak. Speak, and you create your authority. When you desire a role, do not wait for someone to appoint you. Take responsibility, act decisively, and soon others will treat you as the leader you have already become. Power begins in the mind long before it manifests in the world. The man who believes he must wait remains in chains. The man who decides to take already lives like a ruler. Do not mistake this for recklessness. Taking power does not mean flailing blindly or acting without foresight. It means recognizing that no one will deliver it to your doorstep. It means seeing that hesitation kills and boldness, even when imperfect, creates openings. Remember, opportunities are like doors that close quickly. The timid linger in front of them, questioning whether they should knock. The bold push them open, and in that very act, they secure the advantage. The difference between the one who rules and the one who obeys is not merely birth or privilege. It is the ability to act when others remain paralyzed by doubt. History is filled with men of humble beginnings who rose to greatness not because someone granted them a throne, but because they understood this law. Lorenzo de' Medici, born into a family of merchants, turned wealth into dominion through calculated moves. Cesare Borgia, whom I often admired, did not inherit power passively, but forged it with audacity, cunning, and decisive cruelty when necessary. Every man who sits at the top of society, every ruler, every master, every tyrant or king, each of them seized what was not given. They understood that to wait is to lose, and to take is to live, and if you do not take, someone else will. That is the cruel balance of power. It cannot remain in a vacuum. If you do not fill it with your presence, your rival will fill it with his. This is the first and harshest truth you must accept. No one will hand you power out of kindness, loyalty, or justice. They will never say, "Here, take my crown, take my influence, take my authority." They will laugh at your obedience, exploit your patience, and move forward without you. If you are to claim what is yours, you must break the illusion of waiting. You must stop living as though power will arrive like a gift, because the crown, the throne, the empire, whether in politics, business, or your personal life, belongs only to the one who dares to seize it. And once you understand this, if no one will hand you power, then understand the weapon that allows you to seize it: perception. Reality itself bends to appearances, and men, though they speak of truth and virtue, are guided by what they see, what they believe, and what they fear. Authority is not only the sword, nor the throne, nor the army. It is the image you craft in the minds of others. If you appear strong, decisive, and unshakable, you will be treated as such. If you appear weak, hesitant, or uncertain, even the little power you hold will be stripped from you without hesitation. Mankind, by nature, is superficial. They judge not with reason but with their eyes. They cannot see the heart of your plans. They cannot weigh the depth of your intentions. They see your posture, they hear your words, they sense your confidence or your doubt, and from this they construct the world they believe is true. Therefore, if you wish to command power, you must command perception. Control how you are seen, and you will control how men act toward you. Consider this: a man who looks confident, who speaks with authority, who walks into a room as if he owns it, is obeyed even before he has proven his worth. Why? Because others assume he must hold something they cannot see. The illusion becomes reality. Meanwhile, a man with wisdom but no presence, a man with talent but no boldness, is dismissed. His worth is buried because his appearance does not inspire belief. Here lies the cruel truth. It is often better to appear strong than to actually be strong, for men submit to what they perceive, not to what is hidden. This is why rulers wear crowns, robes, and jewels. These objects do not give them strength, but they create the appearance of it. The throne is but a chair, yet men kneel before it. The crown is but metal, yet it commands obedience. Symbols are not trivial. They are the very fabric of perception. If you underestimate them, you will be crushed by those who wield them. The same applies in everyday life. A leader who projects certainty, even in uncertain times, inspires loyalty and order. His followers cling to his image of strength, even if beneath the surface he struggles. On the other hand, a leader who reveals doubt, who exposes his fears, quickly finds his men wavering, his allies turning, his rivals circling like wolves. Appearances dictate loyalty, not hidden truths. You must, therefore, master the art of masks. Do not reveal your inner turmoil to the crowd, for they will devour you if they sense weakness. Do not parade your every thought, for transparency is a luxury only the powerless can afford. Learn to conceal and reveal at will. Present yourself as calm in chaos, as strong when tested, as decisive when others falter. Even if you are uncertain, act as though certainty is your shadow. This is not deceit for its own sake, it is survival. Understand also that perception can elevate you far beyond your actual strength. A man who is feared for his ruthlessness may never need to wield cruelty often. The fear alone protects him. A man who is admired for his wisdom may influence decisions he never directly touches. Perception multiplies your power, while lack of it drains it away. If men do not perceive you as worthy of influence, they will strip you of what little you have. But perception is fragile, and herein lies the danger. It can be constructed, but it can also be destroyed with a single misstep. One sign of weakness, one display of hesitation, can undo years of careful image. That is why the powerful guard appearances even more fiercely than they guard their armies. The fall of kings often begins not with the loss of soldiers, but with the loss of faith in their image. Once men believe you are weak, reality soon follows, for their belief becomes action. Think of the generals who lose wars before battles begin, because their soldiers no longer believe in their command. Think of rulers who are assassinated, not because they lacked power, but because they appeared vulnerable, and their rivals sensed the moment to strike. Perception always precedes reality. You do not fall when you are truly weak, you fall when others see you as weak. Therefore, if you are to seize power, you must cultivate your image with the same care a warrior sharpens his blade. Train your presence, sharpen your voice, control your expressions. Let no rival see hesitation in your eyes. Let no ally doubt your confidence. Project what you want the world to believe, and soon the world will act as though it is true. Even fortune itself bends toward perception. Opportunities open for those who look prepared, even if they are not. Doors are closed to those who look uncertain, even if they hold great potential. Men of action are mistaken for men of destiny, and the world bends itself around them. Meanwhile, men of hesitation are mistaken for men of irrelevance, and the world forgets them. You must accept this. People do not care about your truth. They care about the truth they perceive. If they see you as strong, they will follow you. If they see you as weak, they will abandon you. You may have brilliance, courage, and vision within you, but if it is not seen, it is wasted. And if it is wasted, it may as well not exist. This is why taking power is not enough. You must also guard it with perception. Without the right appearance, even what you have seized will slip through your fingers. Your rivals will exploit every crack, every sign of weakness, every whisper of doubt. They will not rest until your image is shattered, for they know once perception breaks, reality soon collapses with it. And when perception collapses, the world grows ruthless, no longer respecting your position, no longer fearing your strength. To prevent this, you must be prepared to wield not only the sword, but also the mask, not only force but also illusion. Because what men see becomes the world they live in, and when you master this, you will understand why. If perception rules reality, then what sustains perception is not merely charm or confidence, but the willingness to act decisively, even ruthlessly, when the moment demands it. Mercy unguarded is weakness, and kindness without calculation is a noose tied around your own neck. The world is not governed by saints, but by those who understand that cruelty, when used with precision, can preserve order and secure power. Those who fear to wield it are quickly devoured by those who do not hesitate. Human beings admire mercy in theory, yet in practice they despise leaders who cling to it when strength is required. A ruler who forgives every betrayal invites chaos. A commander who spares every enemy soon has none of his own men left alive. To govern, to command, to rise above others, you must accept that cruelty is a tool, as necessary as the sword, as vital as strategy. But like all tools, it must be wielded with precision. The reckless tyrant who indulges in blood without reason destroys himself as quickly as the knave fool who refuses to use force at all. The lesson is this: cruelty must be calculated. It must be deliberate, not impulsive. It must serve a purpose, not a passion. Cesare Borgia understood this when he brought order to the lawless Romagna. He employed Ramiro di Orco, a harsh enforcer, to crush disorder with brutal swiftness. Once order was restored, Borgia publicly executed him in the town square, as if to say, "Cruelty is necessary, but I will not tolerate excess." The people feared him, but they also respected him, for his cruelty had a clear aim. It preserved stability. This is the difference between effective ruthlessness and self-destructive violence. If you are merciful when cruelty is required, you endanger not only yourself, but everyone under your command. Indecision breeds chaos. When betrayal goes unpunished, it spreads like a plague. When weakness is tolerated, rivals become emboldened. You must remember it is far safer to be feared than to be loved, if you cannot be both. Love is fickle. It evaporates when fortune turns, when hardship strikes, when your followers see a chance to profit by abandoning you. Fear, however, is constant, for it binds men by the instinct of survival. They may not admire you, but they will obey you, and obedience preserves power. Yet fear itself must be managed with care. To be feared without being hated, that is the highest art. Excessive cruelty, unleashed without purpose, breeds hatred, and hatred inspires revolt. But calculated cruelty, measured and justified, breeds obedience. The people will whisper of your harshness, but they will also sleep safely under your rule. They will complain of your severity, but they will also recognize that their enemies dare not touch them. In this way, cruelty transforms into respect, and fear becomes the foundation of stability. Consider also how cruelty can be used sparingly yet effectively. A single decisive act of harshness often achieves more than 1,000 gestures of mercy. Punish swiftly and publicly those who challenge your authority, and others will think twice before daring the same. One sharp display of ruthlessness can prevent countless future rebellions. Meanwhile, the leader who hesitates, who shows leniency when punishment is due, must face disobedience again and again until he is consumed by it. Better a single strike that terrifies than a lifetime of weakness that corrodes. The crowd does not remember endless mercies, but it never forgets decisive strength. Men are ungrateful by nature. They accept kindness as their due, but they respect firmness as law. If you wish to command loyalty, do not shower men with endless forgiveness. Instead, instill in them the understanding that betrayal carries consequences, that disobedience has a price, that weakness will be punished. In this way, cruelty protects both your position and those who depend on it. Even in personal matters, the same truth applies. The man who never sets boundaries, who forgives every insult, who tolerates every exploitation, soon finds himself stripped of dignity, surrounded by those who feed on his passivity. But the man who draws clear lines, who responds decisively to disrespect, commands respect even from those who dislike him. Ruthlessness, when directed toward defending your own worth, becomes the very shield that protects you from exploitation. You must learn also to silence your conscience when necessary. Sentiment is the enemy of strategy. Those who hesitate because their heart bleeds for every consequence are those who lose what they value most. The powerful understand that difficult decisions often demand sacrifice. Better that a few suffer today than that the many suffer tomorrow. Better that a single rival be crushed than that 10 rise against you later. Harshness in the present often prevents greater cruelty in the future. And so, when you think of cruelty, think not of savagery but of precision. Think not of mindless violence but of deliberate action. A scalpel, not a hammer. A surgeon removes the diseased flesh not out of malice, but to preserve life. Likewise, you must be willing to cut where others hesitate, to strike where others falter, to act where others doubt. In doing so, you prove not only your strength, but your capacity to govern. For remember, perception alone is fragile without the teeth to enforce it. If men perceive you as strong but discover you cannot punish, their respect evaporates. Appearances must be supported by action. The mask of power must be reinforced by the reality of it. And when your rivals test you, as they inevitably will, it is not mercy they will fear, but the certainty that you are willing to act with ruthless clarity. This is why cruelty, when calculated, becomes not a stain on your reputation, but the very seal of your authority. It demonstrates that you are willing to do what others cannot, that you value order over chaos, strength over weakness, stability over sentiment. It proves to the world that your perception of power is not an illusion, but a reality enforced by action. And when this balance is mastered, when perception and ruthlessness combine, you will discover that fortune itself bends to your will, for she belongs not to the timid or the merciful, but to those bold enough to. If cruelty, when calculated, secures authority, then it is boldness that allows one to rise to heights others dare not touch. For fortune, like power, belongs not to the timid, not to the hesitant, not to the man who waits for the perfect moment. Fortune favors the one who acts, who strikes first, who risks everything while others are still deliberating. The world is carved by bold hands, not trembling ones. Men deceive themselves into believing that caution alone will preserve them, that careful steps and endless patience will lead them to triumph. But the cautious man lives in chains, forever waiting for circumstances to align. He waits for permission, for opportunity, for certainty. And as he waits, bolder men seize the stage, claim the spoils, and write their names into history. Fortune does not reward hesitation, she punishes it with obscurity. Machiavelli himself observed that fortune is like a raging river. When she floods, she devastates everything in her path, destroying cities and kingdoms alike. But the wise man does not sit helpless by the riverbank, praying it will calm. No, he builds dikes and dams, channels and barriers. He prepares to master her violence, not by waiting but by acting. Fortune is chaos, but chaos can be bent to the will of the bold. History, again, offers endless lessons. Alexander the Great did not wait for the perfect moment to expand his empire. He pressed forward into the unknown, conquering lands far beyond the reach of his predecessors. His daring transformed him from a mere king into a legend. Caesar did not deliberate endlessly when faced with the Rubicon. He crossed it, knowing that fortune would never bless him if he lingered in hesitation. Napoleon seized his empire not by slow calculation alone, but by audacity, moving with such speed that his enemies, though greater in number, were always too late to stop him. In every age, boldness creates opportunity where none existed. What seems impossible to the cautious becomes inevitable to the daring. When others hesitate, when others fear, when others doubt, the bold man acts, and in his action, he transforms the world itself. He does not wait for fortune to smile upon him, he drags her into his grasp. This is why boldness is not recklessness, though the timid confuse the two. Recklessness is action without foresight. Boldness is action without hesitation. Recklessness is blind, but boldness sees clearly and still moves forward. The bold man knows the risks, yet he accepts them, for he understands that all greatness demands danger. Better to fail in boldness than to wither in safety, for even failure teaches, while safety leaves a man forgotten. And fortune, like a woman, is seduced by strength, not timidity. She yields herself to those who dare approach her with confidence, not those who linger at her gates, begging for favor. A man who hesitates finds fortune slipping through his fingers, while a man who seizes her boldly commands her loyalty. This truth is as cruel as it is undeniable. Fortune gives herself to the daring, and she abandons the fearful. Look around you in daily life, and you will see the same law at work. The man who dares to speak when others remain silent is remembered. The man who asks when others remain shy receives what others only dream of. The man who risks rejection, loss, even ridicule, often finds himself rewarded, while the cautious remain invisible. In business, in politics, in war, in love, the same principle governs. All fortune bends to boldness. But boldness, like cruelty, must be calculated. The fool who leaps into the abyss without preparation is not bold, but suicidal. True boldness is measured, deliberate, yet unafraid. It is the willingness to act in uncertainty, to strike before all the answers are known, to claim advantage before rivals even recognize that advantage exists. He who waits for clarity waits forever, for the world never offers certainty. Only those who act amid doubt shape destiny. And let us be clear, boldness is contagious. A leader who acts decisively, who moves with confidence, inspires his followers to believe in him. They see his courage, and they take it as proof of destiny. They march behind him, not because they understand every detail of his plan, but because boldness itself convinces them that he cannot fail. On the other hand, hesitation infects like a disease. A hesitant leader weakens the hearts of his men, spreads doubt among his allies, and emboldens his enemies. Boldness preserves loyalty, while hesitation breeds betrayal. This is why fortune is always aligned with the daring. She tests men with uncertainty, with chaos, with risk. The timid crumble under her storms, but the bold bend her force into their favor. They build their empires not by waiting for calm waters, but by learning to sail through violent waves. And in time, fortune becomes their servant, because they proved themselves worthy to master her. Even when boldness fails, it often leaves behind a legacy of respect. Men admire the daring, even when they fall, more than they admire the timid who never tried. For the bold man, though defeated, is remembered. The timid man, though safe, is forgotten. And in the realm of power, to be remembered is to remain dangerous, while to be forgotten is to be dead. Therefore, if you wish to seize power, if you wish to rise above the mass of men who wait endlessly for a chance that never comes, you must choose boldness. You must act when others hesitate, speak when others remain silent, strike when others stand still. Fortune, like power, does not reward those who ask. It rewards those who take. And when boldness combines with perception, when cruelty is wielded with calculation, when the mask of authority is supported by decisive action, you will see that fortune herself is no longer a raging river outside your control, but a force bent to your will, a servant to your ambition. And it is here that you now see the truth that the world hides from the weak. Power is not a gift. It is not charity. It is not granted by justice, by fate, or by kindness. It is seized, always seized, by those who understand its laws. No one will hand it to you, so you must reach for it with your own strength. You must craft the image of authority so others believe in it. You must wield cruelty with calculation, striking swiftly when hesitation would destroy you. And above all, you must be bold, for fortune bends only to those who dare. The timid will remain servants, forever waiting for blessings that will never arrive. The merciful without strategy will be devoured by those more ruthless. The hesitant will drown while others sail through storms. But those who understand these laws, who live by them, who dare to seize, to shape perception, to punish decisively, and to act boldly, these are the ones who carve their names into history. You stand now at the same crossroad where princes, generals, and kings once stood. The path of waiting or the path of seizing. The path of illusions or the path of truth. If you choose as they chose, if you dare as they dared, then power will not elude you. It will kneel before you. For in the end, power is never given. Power is taken. And the question is not whether you are ready to hold it. The question is whether you are bold enough to claim it.